Any questions for the accidental chef? Hello everyone, my name is Carlos. I'm the accidental chef and welcome to ROUSES. We're excited you're here tonight. Tonight we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to make bruschetta. You got the recipe in front of you. I'm going to follow it pretty good. For the last few minutes I've had this garlic just sort of simmering in this on low heat in this olive oil. My goal was to infuse the olive oil with the garlic flavor. Okay, so I'm just going to take that out, and then I'm going to add to it these peppers. Now I cut around the seed pod so that I don't have to worry about the seed pod, and then I just kind of it stayed all together and it didn't bother anything. So it makes it real easy to do that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to make some julienne strips with the peppers. And then once we saute the peppers like we like, we're going to put them on that bread. So once I get these julienne strips, I'm going to cut them so that the pieces are the right size for the bread. Okay? Like that. Bring my heat up a little because I really want them to begin to saute. Get some sizzle for TV. Do you know the rules? If you have any questions, you just stop me and I'll answer the question. Whether or not it'll apply to what we're talking about is still yet to be determined, or if it's true or it's actually a culinary tip. You'll know later when you make it at home whether or not it comes out. All right. Nice stripping. All right. Now the oil is nice and flavored. The reason I season it or flavor it at the point of use is on food safety training. I learned that flavored oils, or when they try to flavor them, have a high risk of contamination. So if you get bad oil or bad flavor in the oil, that's when it happens. So I try to do that. We're also going to infuse the olive oil before we put the pepper mixture on the bread. We're going to infuse the olive oil with anchovy. And so we're going to use the food processor to do that. All right, so a little mini food processor. This is a pretty pepper. It's sort of a hybrid, yellow and green together. Kind of fun. Maybe it's a Brazilian. Kind of looks like the Brazilian flag. All right, light, hot. Okay, I'm going to move this over to this burner because I want some real heat. Not like I was doing. All right. Any questions about that? Okay. As we speak, our website's being updated, accidentalcooking.com. We also have a blog there. If you want to visit our site, you can find out more information or find a recipe, request a recipe, or do all kinds of fun stuff there as well, okay? Trying to make it as interactive as possible. All right. Get everything good and coated. Add a little bit of salt just to kind of help the vegetables kind of break up a little. They call that, I forget what it's called, mastication, I think, or something like that. So I'm going to add these tomatoes. These are fresh Romas. They have nice flavor. I'm just going to cut them. It really doesn't matter how you cut them because we're just going to add them to peppers, and when they're completely gone or cooked out, you can't see them in the mixture anymore, then we'll know that we're close. Okay?
And I put the stem part on
No, not that. Very rustic. All right. All right. Add the tomatoes to that. Comme ça. Get that good and coated and let that go to town. Okay. Any questions about the peppers? We're going to use tonight to make our infused olive oil. We're going to use anchovy paste in the tube. You can also just buy it in the tin and put the tin with the oil in there if you mark it. Now I'm going to use a quantity of paste, probably the equivalent of a tablespoon, which is probably the equivalent of 2 or 3 fillets. Usually in a tin of anchovy, you get about 4 or 5 fillets. All right? Extra virgin olive oil. Use our lovely house brand. Okay, comme ça. Then I'm just going to bring that over here and just churn it up. Everything has a place. Completely kind of frappéing it in the oil. I don't want to go too long because if you go too long, you're going to start to emulsify the oil and it's going to grow and you really don't want it. You still want it to have that kind of oily consistency. So really what we're doing is getting the anchovy to a spreadable consistency without changing the oil. Okay, can you see that? Can't really see the oil, so I'm going to baste it. We're making the bruschetta. If you just walked in, this gives it a wonderful flavor. Anchovy is a marvelous way to season stuff. Gives it a nice zesty kind of flavor, kind of a little salty. Really wonderful. If you like Worcestershire sauce, it's because of the anchovy. All right? Any questions about that? Now this bread I got from the bakery and sliced it into little bread plates, you might call it. This is the ciabatta. We know it's the ciabatta, which is the Italian baguette, because of the airiness of the meat of the bread. You see those big air holes? If it was French, it would be denser. It wouldn't have those big holes. So this has a tendency to get very nice and very crisp. Those of you who love my good bread, the ciabatta is really perfect for the good bread. All right? Any questions about the bread rounds? So anybody who thought it was amazing that I did the exact amount of, it's true, I'm a trained professional. There we go. All right. I kind of lifted that up to flip it because if I do it too close, that grease will get on the fire and it'll flash, or it'll flash in the pan, and I'm not ready to flambe that yet. So I'm going to let that go. Just going to start breaking my tomatoes up a little. All right. Now, in the oven, oh, good. I have my oven preheated to 425 on convection. Now, convection means that there's a little fan in the back of the oven and it blows. Ovens historically bake from a radiating heat from the bottom or a broiler heat from the top. But with what happens with convection, either broiling or with baking, it moves the air around, it decreases your cook time, and it increases the efficiency of the oven. So let's talk about the first step of the chicken penne. If you have a pencil, you're going to want to take some notes because I'm going to kind of deviate from the recipe right there. Not a whole lot, but a little bit. I've taken this is boneless thighs skinless, boneless thighs. And I've added vegetable oil, a Creole seasoning, and Worcestershire sauce. And I've been having it marinating for the last, I don't know, I must have got here about 5:30. So it's been about 40, 45 minutes. So I'm going to put that in the oven for 20 minutes in a hot oven. A hot oven is any temp above 400. So this is at 425 convection, which is actually 450 in a conventional oven, all right? So I'm just going to stick that right there. I'm going to set my timer for 20 minutes. Okay, I'm adding the garlic back in. All right. Getting that. You can see how the tomatoes are kind of going away. My fire's a little hot. My peppers are browning. Now I got this just about where I want. I'm going to add some white wine. Whenever I cook with wine, I use vermouth. One reason, has a screw top, because I don't use it all in one sitting. It's very dry and it's cheaper than regular wine. So I'm going to splash a little wine on there. All right. And that's going to give me a nice aroma. I need some dry basil, please. That's pretty, huh? I'm going to start mashing my garlic so it kind of gets incorporated. All right. I'm seeing very little. Grazie, grazie. I'm going to add about, what does the recipe say, a tablespoon? Okay. Is there an educator in here? Somebody? A teacher? It doesn't say how much? It doesn't say to add basil? Those lion snits. Okay, you add about a tablespoon of basil. Make a note. All right? And we use the dry sifted because we're incorporating it in the middle of the recipe. Also, the basil is going to make this a richer color. You see how the juice is changing to a nicer color? That will happen with your sauces, like your tomato sauces. If you want them to be that nice, brown, rich, you know, when we make that marinara, it makes it a great color. And it speeds up the process. All right. How that's looking? Beautiful, huh? So we're going to cook this just a couple of more minutes, kind of reduce that wine back down so we don't have so much juice. And I'm just going to mash all my garlic. Some lucky person will get a piece of garlic that's not mashed. They'll get the whole thing. You pay dirt. So we got that. All right. Any questions about this? You know, traditionally when you go into a restaurant and you order bruschetta, they usually bring you minced tomatoes with fresh basil and garlic. Well, this is my own take on that. Because when I first started to cook professionally, I developed a line of frozen Italian entrees. And then the people said, well, could I get it hot? Could you deliver it? My daughter's getting married. Could you cater the wedding? My son's having a bar mitzvah. So I started to need appetizers. I started to need party food. So I developed this recipe for this bruschetta. I'm a huge fan of bread. You know, bread's divine. That's why they use it in the Eucharist. So we got that. Okay. You see how with the peppers cut, this freezes beautifully either in this state or I'm going to do these like this, and then I'm going to put a piece of cheese on the top, provolone cheese, and then bake it. Now you can freeze it with the provolone cheese on it. You get it to that state and you just freeze it. And then you have it whenever you come over. You're having 2 friends over. You get out 6 or 8 and you throw them in the toaster oven and they're ready. Or you're having 25 friends over. You get out 3 trays and they're ready. Okay? So they freeze great. So the bread does not get soggy because of the thinness of the bread. the amount of olive oil that's in the bread, when we bring that heat up to heat it again, it toasts. The bottom's really going to toast, especially with the ciabatta, because the oil's seeping out at the bottom. So sometimes with the ciabatta, when we get it out the oven, there's a lot of oil, and we have to let it rest a minute and draw that oil back up into the bread, because you don't want to waste any of that good oil. Okay? Does anybody see one that I missed? We're good? Any questions about anything you see here tonight? Fun?
If you have any leftover, you can just toss it in some cold pasta.
Oh my God, like you would not believe. It's outrageous. I'm just going to leave it right there because I don't have time to wipe. All right. Shayna, the cheese. Y'all see the cheese? Okay. Now this is something I like to do too. Nibble on something else while I cook. But this is provolone. Ask the deli to kind of slice it so it's a little translucent. You see what I mean? Like you can see it. I don't know. Some slicers have a high number for the thin. Some have for the high. Come on in, Nick. So I'm going to use coarse salt. Okay. Now when you use coarse salt, you use it at the end. Because if it melts, if you use it too soon and it melts, it's way too much salt. I put it at the end because it's going to add a little crunch to your bite of your, getting that, Danny? All right. Now I have found that you can cut this slice of cheese into 6. And that's a good size. With a full pan, if you get the cheese too big, they overlap, and then you're going to need shears to cut them apart when you go to serve them. Okay? How's that looking? Kind of fun? I love provolone. It's got a nice smoky flavor, and it's the perfect kind of complement. It sort of shrink wraps around the peppers so they stay on the bread. They don't slide off on your party dress. You know, so you have to consider all that when you're making an appetizer, how people are going to eat it. When you have it small enough, if they're standing and eating with a fork, you make sure that everything is a bite size or smaller, because they can't use a knife when standing. All right. Any questions about the bruschetta? Okay. 22. Okay, well, looks like everybody will get 1. All right. Voila. In the oven, offset 7 start. Okay, the other one will go an extra minute, it won't hurt. All right, any questions about the bruschetta? Penne pasta chicken. Okay, good. All right, we're gonna need butter. Okay? It's penne pasta because that's the shape of the pasta, the penne. Where's those little sauce pots that you had? I did need one after all. Just fill it halfway with water if you don't mind. This is the penne. It's tubular. There's over 600 shapes of pasta. This one sometimes it has a blunt end, this one has a horizontal, but it almost always has ridges. Because the nice thing when you use a pasta with a ridge or a hole in it, it's to catch the sauce. So you're going to use it with a heavier sauce. So if you've got a thinner sauce, like just to say a scampi or something like that, you want to use a smaller pasta, angel hair or some vermicelli or something small like that. All right? So let's see if we can get some heat here. How about right there? Beautiful. A lid maybe? Or one of those pans? Wonderful. Let's give it up for Sheena. All right. She's doing a great job. Perfect. Look, it has holes in it. Oh, perfect. Listen. Oh, they all have holes. Okay, great. All right, we're gonna put that. Now, y'all all know that I love Cooks Illustrated. On the magazine rack, there's 3 different ones on there today, making from scratch, and the best recipes ever. And I have to tell you, I made this in the spring. I just saw the peaches, and it was just wonderful. And I had a new spring farm pan, and it just came out. It was perfection. So everything in these Cooks Illustrated is perfect because they test it. It's from America's Test Kitchen. So last time I was here, there was a thing about the salt in the water. Does it make it salt? Does the water boil faster with the salt at the beginning, or does it boil faster at the end? Their research found there was approximately 16.7 seconds difference in the time when the water came to boil. So I would say it doesn't matter. Okay? If you're having to save 16.7 seconds in the kitchen, you need to start earlier. Okay? That's all I have to say about that. All right, we got our butter. I love butter. Shout if you love butter. Woo! There we go. So, now we'll use that. Okay, we're going to use a seasoning mix. That's, this is like, they call it the Trinity, some people. You know, the French actually had carrots, celery, and onions, but the carrots didn't grow well in Louisiana, so the Cajuns adapted to the bell pepper. And that's why, I forget that French word for that, but anyway. So this one actually has, sometimes it has parsley and garlic. So this one has more than just the 3, all right? It does not indicate what it is. Here it is. Yellow onions, bell pepper, green onions, parsley, and garlic. So it also has the little green onions, okay? So, personally, I like the one that's frozen in the bag. That's the one I use, the Pick South, Pick Sweet. It's in the freezer. It comes in a small bag up to a 5-pound bag. You know, I made jambalaya on Sunday for 200, and I had 2 of those 5-pound bags that I used. And so, who was at the store in Lafayette on Saturday? I made sliders. Oh, I usually make my Sicilian jambalaya, but Sheena said, look, there's a game, so let's do some tailgating food. So I had a meeting in Ellick, and as I was driving from Ellick, I conceived what I was going to do. That's better than telling you I dreamt about it the night before. But so anyway, I'm going to add a little olive oil to this because the olive oil has a low viscosity, and it's going to keep my butter from burning, all right? That's why we use a second fat. All right. Anyway, the slider, ground pork, ground lamb, ground beef, very lean. Mix that together real good. Salt and pepper, breadcrumbs, egg, fresh garlic minced, fresh parsley minced, and feta cheese. Ooh.
But did Sheena eat it?
Sheena was outside. She was working the barbecue. Anyway, that's hot. So it's cooking. Grilled them, you know, at the Bertrand store, we just have the big flat grill. So I did the flat grill, grilled them, got them real brown, you know, put some olive oil on that and browned them real good, and then put them in a pan on the edge so they didn't overcook. All right? Then I took red cabbage, red onions, and red bell pepper. And I started to saute that on the grill. Get that, you add olive oil and you just keep sauteing that. And then I added minced garlic and minced fresh ginger. Kind of really got that going. Everything was happy. It was wilting, kind of looking like bush. And then, what's that? The time's run out. Oh, and they're absolutely perfect. Except I have no hot pad. Oh, look, we've been saved. All right, shush. Look how beautiful that is. Are you excited? And look how nicely the chicken browned. See, I didn't even have to think about it. It was just going on its way by itself, okay? Anything I can set and forget. For me, the most important thing in the kitchen is the timer. Clearly, it saved us because he was sitting by. Usually, I never hear that timer because it's so low. And the apron. All right, so we're sauteing here, right? What are we making? No, seriously, come on. Chicken. Okay, got it. All right. Y'all are getting so ugly. Okay. All right. I don't have too much oil on here, okay? So I'm going to set them over here and let them cool just a little bit more, and Miss Sheena's going to put one on a plate for everyone. There you go. All right. They boil? This is boiling, maybe. All right. What I'm going to do is I'm going to add flour to my onion mixture, and that once they wilt, okay, and get a little translucent. The other thing I don't like about this mixture, you see how small it's cut? Prone to burn and scorch. That's why you want at least a ½ inch cut. If you ask, like when you buy them at Kevin's or at those places that you can buy 1/4 inch or ½ inch, and you want a 3/8 and ½ inch. So you want to, so I'm going to add 1/4 cup of flour. Okay? I read a recipe the other day because I had 4 people in my kitchen for 2 days, and we were making sauces one day. And the recipe, you know, my cooking Bible, Amy Vanderbilt's complete cookbook, she uses 1 tablespoon of butter to 1 tablespoon of flour. But we have 8 tablespoons of butter because that's what's in a stick, and 4 tablespoons of flour. So ours isn't quite as thick. And now you can, if you wanted it to be thicker, you could do 1 to 1. All right? So we got that right there like that. All right? How's that looking? It's kind of getting thick. Now watch what the wine does to this. It begins to make it have volume. Completely changes the consistency. You like that? And it's so fragrant. Now, if you're a friend of Bill W's, you don't have to worry. All the alcohol cooks out. All right? C'est bon? Bon, bon. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to turn it all the way down as low as it can go. And I'm going to begin to add my cream. I use half and half. All right? How are we doing? Is there one I can try? How they taste? All right. All right. Good, good. All right, we're going to slowly add our milk, or half and half. Now this is the 3rd fat that we're adding. Just of those who are counting calories. And really, seriously, when you eat this, it's only 2 points on Weight Watchers. Okay? After the 3rd bite, I'm not sure how many points. All right, how that's looking. It looks thick, huh?
About how much wine did you add?
maybe a half a cup, maybe. 2 splashes, 2 shots. 2 shots would be 1/8 of a cup. 4 shots would be, you just kind of do it. I could keep doing it, you know. Now, if you had chicken stock and you were making something, a different kind of a sauce, you could have added your chicken stock after the wine and bring that up. And then when I do that, when I do that, I bring it up with the chicken stock, and then I add, and I let that cook. Like if I'm making cream of leek soup or cream of spinach soup or whatever, and I let that cook until I got it like I want, and then I puree it, and I add the cream right before I serve. Okay? So we can, whew, that's pretty, yeah.
Is there a menu attached to this sauce?
This is just a white, so you could call it a Bushmel, Bishmel. Is that right? Bishmel? Okay. All right. All right, there's a few more of those. If y'all want to come up and get one. I'll just set them right here. You saving them? Oh, okay, we'll get a hot pad. Get a hot pad. All right, I'm just going to stir this. I got my burner on the lowest setting, which means nothing on this range top. Okay, but you want a low setting. In fact, I'm going to move up here because I just don't have low like I like. Because you don't want it to scorch. There's no reason for it to scorch. Okay? How that's looking. Pretty, huh? Now, at home, I use a flat whisk. I had this whisk that kind of looked like a strainer on a martini thing, and I bent it. So it's on 90 degrees, so I can do like this and really get mixed. It's great for combining my flour for my roux. All right, who's made a gumbo so far with all this cool weather?
One day. One day.
You did the one day? Oh, good. Shall you take what you can get it? That's it. When I lived in Pittsburgh, they wanted to know when did winter end in Louisiana. I'd said about 10 in the morning. That's Monday. That one day. After Christmas Eve, it's not cold. All right. Y'all like that? See how nice my chicken's browned? Okay. Now I'm going to add this to my other stuff. Okay. Now this is the chicken flavor. Every time you add a little bit and you combine. Okay? Because if you add it all at once, it may be too much and it'll affect your consistency. Okay? Any questions about that? No. Yum, yum. Nothing better than chicken fat. When you make your chicken stock, save the fat. Use it instead of butter or bacon grease. Equal amounts. You know, the Jews call it schmaltz because they can't eat bacon, so they can't cook with bacon fat, so they cook with chicken fat. All right? How that's looking?
And they call it what?
Schmaltz. Schmaltz. I don't know. My Yiddish isn't strong. That's close, isn't it? Schmaltz? Schmaltz. Anybody Hebrew in here? No. Okay. Well, then it doesn't matter what we call it. Okay. Schmaltz. I think it's schmaltz. All right. All right. Go ahead and go for it. All right. I still have my heat on, okay? We're not afraid of the heat. Y'all like that so far? Isn't that pretty? Nice and thick. Rich with flavors. Did we put any seasoning? Let's put a little of this. Make it kind of Cajun. I usually add about a tablespoon That's what it says on the recipe, I think. Does it say that? I usually add it with the onions, with the Trinity, because it, 1 tablespoon. The recipe originally called for that tube of Kraft garlic cheese. Y'all remember that?
Yeah.
They don't make that anymore. And then somebody thought of it, they tried to make it, and it didn't go well. Like not a local, but somebody. All right. Does anybody know when we put this in here? We forgot to set the timer. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and set it for 7 minutes. It was a 9-minute boil out. Always follow the cooking instructions on the package. The manufacturer has hired food scientists, so that makes sure that you can't screw the product up, because if you screw it up, you won't buy it again. And they have one goal, and their mission is to sell more food, okay? So this says cooking time, 4 quarts of water. I think we did all right. Add pasta to boiling water, cook uncovered occasionally for 11 to 13 minutes. So I'm gonna add 2 more minutes to this. Okay, done. Okay? Y'all confident that the pasta will be okay? I like it al dente. This is good because if you want to make it al dente, you can, because if it's going to set for a while, it's going to continue to cook. And if you don't like your noodles soft, you want to abbreviate your time sooner. I told you, y'all heard me say I made jambalaya for 200. I baked the rice. Okay, 1 to 1 on the rice in a foil pan, covered, an hour maybe, 45 minutes to an hour, depending on how dry you want your rice. Perfect rice every time. Or once you get your stock made, that's how I do it, because I had made it in quantities and I didn't bring it to the event mixed. I just had the stock and the rice, and I made it as they went, because sure enough, we didn't use it all. They could freeze the stock separately. But make your rice a little hard, so when it sits, you know, on the range, on the line or whatever, your rice is going to continue to cook. Or I did another batch and I tested it with parboil rice. Y'all know what that is? Uncle Ben's parboil. They make Zatarain's makes a parboil. You put that right in your stock and you let it just come back. It's going to hydrate and it'll be fine. It's real nice because it doesn't get gooey. But there's a group of people that like their jambalaya to be gooey. So if you've got goo issues, don't go with the parboiled, all right? And get the short grain. My wife is 35, 36, 40 years in Louisiana from Oklahoma. She's just barely getting where she wants rice. And it can't be sticky. It has to be flaky. So I use basmati rice, which is a beautiful rice. And you know, basmati is a whole grain rice, like brown rice, but it's white, and it doesn't have that hard, you know, basmati, it's up there. Mahatma makes it. It's by the Jasmine, okay? Some of the recipes tell you to boil it in 8 cups of water like this and drain it. Some don't. So I like the one that does a cup and a quarter, 3/4 to 1 cup, boil it down, turn down the fire, you know, like you make rice. But who makes rice anymore and not in the rice pot? Okay, there's always one. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and cut the chicken up into bite-sized pieces because I want it to cook a little bit longer. It's almost completely cooked. I wouldn't be afraid to eat this chicken right here, but you know, some people might feel skirmish about that, but the thighs cook very evenly and quickly. They make a very nice product. Again, you see I'm cutting it into pieces that you won't require a knife. All right. I'm the accidental chef, so there's an accident. All right. I'm telling you. All right. All right. There we go. Now, if you were to use the block cheese or Velveeta, which is very good for making sauces, you know, because it never breaks, because it's just hydrogenated fat, you know. You know the rule about hydrogenated fat? If it doesn't melt in the sun, don't eat it. All right. Any questions about the chicken? All right. Okay, we're just going to combine that. Lovely. You like that? Did we add red pepper? Give me a little cayenne, chef. All right. Thought I was done with this, but I'm going to chop my whatever this is. Yes, parsley. I smelt it. Not cilantro. Now look, you get in a hurry to make that gumbo. Don't run in the store and grab the cilantro. You won't be happy. Your family will be angry. Be real careful. The cilantro has the leaf is flatter and it's a lighter green color. Okay? Give it a quick sniff because the cilantro is real fragrant. And it's a wonderful spice, but you don't want it in your gumbo. Your tortilla soup, on the other hand, whoo, you can't get enough in there. All right? Now it just depends on how you like your, I never tasted that. See how the bread got crusty? Y'all like that? Give it up for the bruschetta. How we doing, Sheena? Great. What's the time on the timer? 5 minutes. All right. Nice. It's gonna, when the pasta gets ready, it's gonna change color. You see, it's still kind of hard, so you got a good 5 minutes there. That's right. All right. Okay. You remember I said before you put the meat in, you could have added shrimp. Of course, you wouldn't have the drippings from the chicken. You could have added crawfish. All right, that's your basic thing with that. Okay. Bon. So tonight, because the shopper they provided me with got garlic cheese. This is Burston cheese, or rondelle. It's a spreadable cheese. It's milk and fat, and for some reason, they got light. So anyway, that's why we adopted our recipe tonight, because we're using this product. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to add it to here. It seems like enough to give it a good flavor. All right? How that looks. What you think? So this would be how you would adapt the recipe if you had some of this left in your fridge, or you had something going to date. You know, that's how the anthropology of the food is mostly what we got. The bell pepper grew well here, the carrots didn't, so the carrots we don't use the carrots, we use the bell pepper. Okay? We don't bake in the summer. Right?
Right.
So, all right. My wife, that was, I think, was the hardest thing for my wife to get. Well, let's have baked whatever. And I'm like going, no, we can't light the oven in the summer. Never mind that the oven puts off no heat. But it was just one of those things. I'm sorry, I'm like that. Okay, how that looks. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer my pasta straight from the pot. So I'm going to get a lot of liquid in there, and it's going to bring my sauce to the right consistency, because when I put the hot pasta in there, it's going to start to draw back, okay, because it's hot. Now, you could do this later. You could make this tonight, refrigerate it, you know, make your pasta. When you get ready to serve, microwave this, microwave your pasta, combine and serve, okay? See, I'm just gonna scoop it up comme ça. All right. All right, any questions about anything? Y'all want me to make some good bread with this? All right, that would be yes. Some olive oil. Sheena, where's the pan? Oh, good. Let's get it ready. Some cayenne. We never put the cayenne in there. Did we put the cayenne in there? What did we put? It's going to be real cajun. All right. The coarse salt. Garlic powder. What, baby? Y'all get nervous for nothing. You know those 4 guys that were in my kitchen for 2 days? One was a cardiologist. He had no problem with my use of butter. I'm glad I didn't have to throw him out. Okay. Do we have any shake cheese in there? Sheena. Check for shake cheese. That was dry basil. You can use any herb you want. Parmesan, that's me. You know my rule in cooking, never too much Parmesan. Oh, I think I have a palsy. Okay, there we go. All right. How's that shot, Danny? How's it? Does it look delicious on camera too? Charles? Yes? Okay. Did we turn the oven off? I hate that. Why is the oven on? That's not the oven. That's the timer. Mozzie. Okay. All right. Sometimes I like to cook this on a rack because in the convection, then the air gets all around it, okay? Kind of spread that out like that. Bring all that up to the bread, get it off the tray. Y'all like that? How's the chicken looking? Isn't that pretty? Smell the garlic meat. All right. Check this for doneness. Perfect. All right. You could say the pasta is al dente. Al dente means it's firm. Dental, dente, you get pushback when you bite. Okay, it's not so soft that, you know, my father used to say about his mother's macaroni, because she made tomato gravy with macaroni, not sauce with pasta, gravy with macaroni. It was so soft you didn't need teeth. All right, but we're not going to get into my father's mother issues. All right. All right. You like that? How easy is that? Forget the colander on the stove. Forget, you know, we have a met. Now, I like to use a spider web, bamboo handle, and it's got a lace weave. Very cheap at the Asian store. All right? Fresh parsley. You getting that, Danny? All right? Oh, look, I had some cheese left from the bread. Anything else, huh? How gorgeous is that? All right, we're just going to combine. Pull from the outside to the middle. You always add your fresh herbs at the end, because if you don't, they'll get cooked out. They won't present any flavor. They're making a nice green color. How's that looking? Something you want to serve your guests? Or those screaming children? Usually, after you brown the chicken, you can make the sauce in the time it takes to make the pasta cook. You put your water on, so from about the same time, because that's like 6 to 10 minutes to boil, and then 8 to 9 to 10 minutes to cook. So in those 20 minutes, you can make your sauce, and you could technically have your chicken ready in that same 20 minutes, because that's what we had it in that hot oven. Okay? Is that pretty?
The pasta absorbs the juice.
The pasta absorbs some of the juice. That's why I brought it right out of the water, because to not make it too thin, you know, to keep my consistency, because I could have lost it. Now, I threw out all the water, but you can use that water anytime, because it's got nice starches in it, and you can, whenever you're making a sauce or something, use that water, because it's very good for that. Okay? Pretty. That was kind of easy, huh? Chicken penne. The bread's cooking, even though the oven's preheating. Upper bake, 425. All right, there we go. Bon. Miss Long, you ready? All right, let me get a spoon suitable for serving. We have a scoop. Yeah, this will work fine right here. And I would serve it with a spoon, not a fork. You have a fork?
We have that for.
Oh, okay, never mind. I was saying I would serve this with a spoon. Pasta, those kind of things, because I find it easier to eat. Okay? All right. Oops. Should have had a salad, huh? Yes. It's time for a good Sicilian summer salad.
We're good.
How does that taste? Isn't that fun? Was that easy? Can you do it at home? That's what we want to know. Is it fun? Is it easy? Can you duplicate it at home? Shanna, give me a fork when you get a second, boo. Okay. Whew. That's good. Charles, did you get a little bit? Y'all heard the buzzer? Ooh. I'm all cheesed up here. That's the other thing about the rack. They tend not to stick. Okay, Miss Shana. Sheena. Is that Sheena like the Amazon Queen?
Yeah.
Y'all remember that? Tarzan and the Amazon Queen? Her name was Sheena. This bottle.
What is?
All right. Well, any questions for the accidental chef? All right, let's give it up for our team. Thank you so much for coming.